Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a little different. We are going on an intergalactic voyage to the most alien landscapes in the universe, but without ever leaving Earth. We'll be traveling to frozen worlds, impossible-looking mountains, and terrains that just seem to completely break the rules of reality.
Do you really need a spaceship to visit another planet? I mean, you might instinctively think so, right? But it actually turns out some of the strangest landscapes in the cosmos aren't millions of light years away. They are literally right here on our home planet. We're talking about places that look exactly like Mars, or perfectly mimic the frozen, mysterious surface of an alien moon. And honestly, the best part? These places are 100% real, and their geology is absolutely incredible.
Okay, let's dive into this. First up, the Martian deserts. Seriously, if you were dropped into these desolate red environments without any context at all, you would swear you were standing right on the surface of the red planet.
Let's break this down. There are three distinct earthly locations that beautifully simulate a Martian expedition. Take Wadi Rum in Jordan. It's famous for these giant red sandstone cliffs. And that color? It comes from iron oxide weathering. Or we could travel down to the Namib Desert in Namibia, where you've got these massive giant orange dunes surrounding perfectly preserved ancient dead trees, all thanks to a totally dry climate. And then there's the Atacama Desert in Chile. It offers this incredibly dry, barren, completely lifeless rocky terrain, caused by an extreme lack of precipitation.
Seeing all these stunning similarities, it brings up a really fascinating thought. If humans ever build a settlement on Mars, the landscape might feel strangely familiar. And, this isn't just some poetic thought. Scientists actually use these earthly extremes to study the exact conditions that might resemble parts of Mars. Before we send rovers or, actual people into space, we test our understanding in places like the Atacama. But as fascinating as that is, hold on, because this isn't even the strangest environment we're looking at today.
Next up, extreme chemistry and fire. Because if you thought the red deserts were alien, just wait until you see landscapes completely sculpted by toxic chemistry and intense volcanic fire. Over in Ethiopia, you'll find two incredible extremes sitting literally side by side. The Danakil Depression features these bright yellow sulfur formations and cracked salt-covered ground, sitting right on top of immense volcanic activity. Meanwhile, Dalol takes it a whole step further, with astonishing neon yellow mineral formations and bubbling pools of green and orange acid. It's wild. These environments are forged by intense, extreme heat interacting with salt and mineral-rich water. Honestly, it looks like it was constructed by an alien civilization, but every single bizarre color and bubbling cauldron is just the result of extreme geological chemistry.
But here's the strangest part, and it's a question I really want you to consider for a second. Why do so many places on Earth look like other planets? I mean, how does our own blue and green world, known for its lush forests and vast oceans, end up producing such otherworldly, almost impossible illusions?
Well, the answer is entirely scientific. It's rooted in our planet's fundamental forces. We're talking about volcanic activity, extreme temperatures, wind and water erosion, the sheer crushing weight of glaciers, complex salt and mineral deposits, and shifting tectonic plates. Every seemingly impossible alien shape or crazy neon color we've explored so far is just a result of these massive geological forces working tirelessly over millions and millions of years. It's not magic, right? It's just the beautiful and sometimes pretty harsh reality of our planet's natural processes.
Moving on to our next category, sculpted by water and ice. Having explored the effects of immense heat and toxic chemistry, let's look at environments where water and ice are the primary sculptors.
Very few places on Earth combine fire and ice quite like Iceland's Vatnajökull region. On one hand, you have the stark, aggressive forces of fire, vast fields of black volcanic sand and jagged lava fields born from active volcanoes. And then, this clash directly against the forces of ice, creating bright blue ice caves and massive glaciers shrouded in steam and mist. This dramatic juxtaposition, where intense volcanic activity and freezing glaciers are constantly interacting, it creates this landscape of deep black rock and glowing blue ice that just feels like a totally different planet.
And this brilliantly illustrates how patience is the ultimate artist. Think about it. 5 million years ago, initial water and wind flow begins. Fast forward to 100,000 years ago, and the deep carving of rock really starts taking shape. Cut to today, and we get incredible formations, like towering pillars and perfectly smooth canyon walls. This exact, incredibly slow process is what carved the beautiful orange and red passages of Antelope Canyon in the USA and those massive, fog-covered vertical sandstone pillars of Zhangjiajie in China.
It might look like an alien spacecraft carved those canyon walls by hand, but in reality, the artist was just water, working tirelessly for thousands and thousands of years.
Then there is Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia, the world's most enormous salt flat. When just a tiny, thin layer of rainfall covers this massive, endless white expanse, the whole thing transforms into a giant natural mirror. Perfectly reflecting the clouds above, it creates this surreal optical illusion. For a few moments, it becomes almost literally impossible to tell where the Earth ends and the sky begins. You just appear as this tiny figure standing in an endless, massive landscape that completely defies our normal sense of reality.
But, landscapes aren't the only things that can look completely alien. The life growing on them can, too. And this happens through something called geographic isolation. Basically, when populations of organisms are physically separated from the rest of the world, it leads to completely unique evolutionary paths and bizarre biodiversity. A perfect example of this is Socotra, an island in Yemen. Because it's been isolated for so incredibly long, it bred strange vegetation, most notably the dragon blood tree. With its rugged, umbrella-like canopy, it looks like it belongs in a sci-fi movie rather than right here on our planet.
Which brings us to our final section, stranger than science fiction. Beyond the pure visual awe of these extraordinary locations, there is a profound, practical scientific value to these extremes.
Here's exactly how researchers utilize these alien-looking spaces. First, they identify the extreme earthly environments, like the Atacama Desert or Dolal. Step 2, they study the survival conditions for the extreme life that somehow manages to thrive there. And finally, Step 3, they apply these vital clues to potential extraterrestrial life. So when scientists want to understand what kind of life might actually survive in the extremes of the cosmos, they don't have to leave Earth. They just use these bizarre locations as their ultimate testing grounds.
It leaves us with this pretty profound thought. Maybe the most alien planet we've ever seen is the one we're already standing on. Think about it. We spend billions of dollars trying to explore other worlds. But before we travel across the solar system, we really must appreciate the seemingly impossible rules of reality happening right here on our home planet. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Which of these bizarre earthly environments would you explore first? The giant natural mirror in Bolivia? The toxic neon pools of Ethiopia? Or maybe the red Martian deserts of Jordan? Let us know down in the comments. And hey, if you want to see more unexplained mysteries and hidden wonders of our incredibly strange planet, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and keep exploring.